What's up, guys? It's me again, good old Seraphic Ninja. Except with a new gamer tag, if you haven't noticed yet. It's Ninja Tips. Don't ask me why I come up with weird ninja gamer tags. Just take it in, and let's move on. Anyway, so obviously, for those Gears players out there who are taking on the multiplayer and are on that road to max rank, just like I am, well, you've probably already thought about which game mode pays out the most XP and the most credits. If you're on your own, playing solo, of course you don't want to jump into game modes like Escalation and Execution already, you know? No, it's a bad decision there. You want to jump into game modes like Dodgeball, Team Deathmatch, and King of the Hill. Those are way easier to handle when you're a solo. But if you do have a team, you know, and it's a team of 5, then damn, your chances of victory are higher. So go for it. At least that, you know, it won't slow you down for gaining that max XP progress, since even losing one player on your team will usually lead to that loss. But if there are no quitters, you will get major experience playing that match of Escalation. I will tell you though, from my experience, that game mode drags way too long and lacks the opportunity for one to at least keep that KDR in check, if that's one thing you care about. Because let's face it, 3 objectives places way more workload on a player than just focusing on one objective, like in King of the Hill. In Escalation, you will dive in towards the objective for that victory, but you take that bigger risk dealing with 3 caps versus just 1. As I mentioned, King of the Hill. The credit payouts from Escalation and King of the Hill are not too far apart either, so it places King of the Hill as the #1 pick for the game mode that has the most potential for payouts. Everything goes into play though, from individual performance to achieving team victory to meeting the quota for those bounty cards, which I will cover as well. King of the Hill has its negatives, don't get me wrong, but the positives outweigh them. I'm going to cover that in a bit too, after covering some of the game mode payouts. Alright, so what are the credit payouts on some of the game modes? Well, if you guys recall, Execution gives an amount between 50 to 90. Team Deathmatch gives somewhere around 60. And this all depends on whether you achieve victory or lose the match. That determines your max credit output. But King of the Hill just dominates, since it gives you a whopping 160 when you achieve that victorious match. Now correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because really the whole point of this video is to get down to the point, get to the bottom of it, and all I got is my experience of the game. And let me tell you, I've put in some mad hours playing a variety of the game modes in order to get a good grasp of the XP and credit max outputs. It's an important topic, guys. I mean, it's time. Time is precious, and investing it wisely is key to making the most out of it. Alright, so we've covered the negatives on going solo, which essentially leads to losses and therefore not max XP and not max credit output. Alright, so you want to avoid that. And that is why I recommend TDM, Dodgeball, and King of the Hill. If you have a team and they actually like playing those game modes, or King of the Hill rather, even better. All of you will gain XP and coins together at a very fast rate. So again, one thing that I have to absolutely mention in order to gain max XP are the bounty cards that you're able to buy from the in-game store. Don't jump into the multiplayer without equipping the right ones. You obviously don't want to equip the one that gives you credits or XP for using Marcus, the character, and you go on and pick Zombie JD just because you got it from the bag of pizza. No, you want to get something that applies to what you're playing. A smart choice for me when I play King of the Hill, which turns out to be the best choice in my opinion, obviously, for earning that max output, happens to be a bounty card that costs only 40 credits to create and pays out 4,000 XP as long as you get that 1,500 scored cut. And believe me, on King of the Hill, you'll get that in the first round guaranteed, simply by capping objectives. Alright, so what are the negatives of King of the Hill, you wonder? Well, it's a really simple one, and that also applies to Escalation. It's quitters. If you lose just one player, the chances that yet another player on your team will quit shortly afterwards is doubled or tripled. I mean, I'm just making that up. You know, I'm guesstimating, in other words. And ultimately, that leads to a big fat loss. A disappointing waste of time, and not to mention a loss of credits. Since, like I said, achieving that 1,500 quota for the bounty you want to equip is not that hard to achieve, and it's earned early in the first round. If a quitter leaves after that, I believe that card is burned up at that point, regardless if you decide not to finish the round and decide to rage quit. And you know what happens usually after rage quitting? Hate mail. And no one likes annoying messages that talk smack about the situation. So to avoid this altogether, simply join a party of 5 to ensure no one leaves the game. Players will normally leave after the first round if they lose, and calculate their losses based on the outcome and overall flow of the first round and how it went. So make sure you go strong on the first round. It's an automatic checkmate, I'm telling you, once they have a quitter. Since the other team's motivation levels will diminish greatly and lead to rage quitting, and hence a victory for you. That also means that since the game ended early, you saved time and yet receive those whopping 160 credits that would have taken you like twice as long in execution. And I'm talking about like the games in execution where like it's evenly matched and it goes just back and forth with one team winning the round at a run at a time. Oh damn, that's just annoying, right? I mean, it may be really fun, but you know, for the sake of the race towards max rank, the player playing King of the Hill all day will ultimately reach their first, versus the Gears of War player choosing to stick to Team Deathmatch, for example, in his entire playtime. So, a couple of more things about King of the Hill, guys, is it allows you to earn max XP in the fact that it has a lot of players that it will be focused on the objective and not so much on the weapon pickups. That distraction opens up windows of opportunity since you can catch someone off guard more often than in other game modes and get the, that opportunity to get that power weapon that you want. When the game mode is execution or TDM, you'll have players of 2 or 3 sticking together to get that power weapon. And King of the Hill or in escalation, the priorities are different and breaks up the teams further throughout the map. Typically, this is like public multiplayer. What I'm talking about, not Gears esports tournament style, where everyone's absolutely holding hands wherever they go. So when the team breaks up, you have that, like I said, that chance to grab those goodies off the ground. Oh, and not to mention, also to take into consideration, only 30 seconds later after you have used that item off the ground, will that item reappear in its original spawn location, making the frequency of power items faster than execution. That's for sure. I'm not so sure about the other game modes though. Another thing that I want to mention for earning max XP really has to do with choosing to play the competitive ranked mode versus sticking to the social matches. I have not yet confirmed this yet, but I only assume that the game rewards more for playing ranked versus social. Obviously because there's more competition in ranked matches. And it's the more typical. Unless, of course, the social game mode is a special social event that will actually state that it gives double XP and points, as they did just recently, developers game mode that included the latest 2 DLC maps for the month of December 2016. Now, a couple of last things that I want to mention when it comes to backing up what I say about King of the Hill offering the most potential and rewarding is the fact that every player out there plays at a certain speed or a certain level of aggression. Where I want to go with that is that, the level of defensive play is really against you when it's a race against the clock. For one, you cannot earn as many kills as fast as you can in King of the Hill than in the game of execution where a player dies and that's the end of the round. You have to compete against your team, really, to get those kills and XP in execution. In TDM and dodgeball, however, yes, that allows respawns, so it really just allows you to get more XP by having to kill that opponent countless of times, as long as the game is still going. Oh, and by the way, I haven't played horde mode yet, but that's also another alternative to max XP. It's focused on the multiplayer modes, and of course, it only counts when you have a team anyway, since it increases the risk of wasting your time if you don't make it to level 50. And I only say that because I've seen a bounty card that pays a very high XP reward for completing all 50 levels on Forge. Alright, well guys, there it is, the point I wanted to get across. It's King of the Hill, the wisest game mode available there for, for earning the most XP and credits out there on Gears of War 4. If I missed anything, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys.